What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to dive into how to rig a drop shot. Two different hooks, my two favorite ways of rigging a drop shot. What rod, what line, all the goodies, other than probably catching a bass down here in the basement. Probably not going to catch a bass. Probably a good chance of that. Anyway, we're about to jump into it right now. Oh my gosh. Diving into this technique, a drop shot is a super versatile technique. It's really talked about a lot, but you hear a lot about it more into the finesse tactic side of it, and that is where I use it the most. But I've caught a lot of fish in stained water on a drop shot, even almost muddy water on a drop shot, and then we can go dive into that. That's a little bit something that I'm going to dive into at a little later date. But I want to use this time in this video to really go through how you rig a drop shot and a couple of the hooks that I choose to use, rod, and then also line. Line is very key. So we're going to start off with the line side of it. And the number one braid that I like to throw a braid with a fluorocarbon leader, tying an FG knot. That is what I personally use most of the time. FG knot takes a little bit of time to really get perfectly, but it's something that works really well. So what braid am I using? This is 8-pound Suffolk Nano braid. I like that. It has a white color. It's more of like a aqua. I forget what the heck they call it. They call it like aqua camo, which is more so just like a white, like an off-white. You can see it in the water if one bites your bait, or you can see them swimming off and catch them. That's why I like it as well. Also, my favorite braid for basically any finesse tactic there is. So if you have not checked this out, definitely look at that. As far as rod and reel combo, okay, it all really depends on what you are fishing. So what I mean by that is, what's your hook choice? So some of you, I have made this comment several times. I have two rods in my rod series that basically take care of most finesse tactics that I have and that I use. Now, I have two hooks right here, and this really just, the hook selection actually determines what rod I'm going to use, believe it or not. So you can see this hook right here. This is actually a finesse Nico. It has a little deal right there. I'll show you guys an up close look here very soon. This is actually a prototype little hook that VMC made. And this is a nose hook, smaller profile, thinner diameter, and we're going to have a look. So if I'm using this thicker hook, which is a thicker hook, probably a little bit heavier cover. This is that finesse Nico. This is probably a 1/0. It might be a 2/0. I'll show you. I'm going to use my medium heavy action rod, or a heavier medium in a rod that you might have. I want to have something that, basically a rod that I'm throwing a shaky head on, something that I can set the hook and it has that backbone. Right here is actually the rod that I have rigged up right now. This has drag and drop, all that stuff with a finesse Nico. And the key is this rod has a moderate tip, okay, a moderate tip. This is not a super fast tip. You can see it has plenty of tip, but then it goes down into more of a backbone. It bends further down the blank, but it has more power in that rod. So that's the reason why I select that. Now, if I'm selecting a nose hook, a smaller hook, then I'm going to select a medium action rod. This is a lighter overall action, but a super fast tip. This is really fast right here. Then it translates into, it actually has a parabolic action going down through the rod, but does not have as much. You can be more accurate. So lighter action rod for the smaller hook, Texas rigging, soft plastics on a drop shot like that finesse Nico, a little bit heavier rod. So that's the deal. Now we're going to dive into what my view is, my point of view on how I'm going to rig this, go through all of the things that you guys need to know, selecting weights, all that good stuff right now. Okay, so right here I have one of my favorite drop shot baits. This is a Guggen Baits Morning Dawn drag and drop, and this sucker catches them really well. Morning Dawn, the pink little worm's always a good one. I'm gonna move some stuff around here real quick. A couple different weights. I have my weight. Let me move this guy out of the way. I'm gonna move him up. This is like more of like a ball shape weight. Okay. Then I have like a cylinder weight, and then I have like a teardrop weight. Personally, if I have one, I am going to pick the teardrop. If I'm fishing grass, I'm gonna fish that cylinder weight. I pretty much have taken this ball weight out of the way. Like, I pretty much don't even throw him nearly as much anymore. I just throw these two. Grass, I'm going to use this guy. more like rock and everything else, even brush, it actually goes through really, really well because it sort of like just drops through there and it does a really good job. So selecting a weight, typically if I'm fishing deep, I'm going to be throwing, like for smallmouth, I want a faster fall, so this is like a 3/8. I'm going to throw a 3/8. My number one size for bass fishing in general from an all-around drop shot weight is a 1/4 ounce. It's actually a 3/16. I use this more when I'm fishing like shallow and stuff. And then, really a 5/16 works really well too. So like a 1/4, 5/16 is probably what I would recommend if you're all-around drop shot weight. If you're going shallow most of the time, a 3/16 this is actually probably one of the best weights overall pitching around shallow. Now, okay, diving into this is like a 2/0. This is like a 1/0. I'm pretty sure right here. And then this is a nose hook. So I got all those things. Actually, here's another teardrop. That's actually a 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to rig this up. I'm going to tie this up real quick for you guys to see how I do this. Don't do that at home. I just cut the line with my teeth. My mom's probably yelling at me right now. Okay, so here you can probably see my line. This is not braid. Actually, you know what I'm going to do for y'all? I'm going to open up this braid so y'all can see it. That way, it's probably not going to be as easy as putting that line in there, but we're just going to do it because you might be able to see it. And at the end of the day, that's probably going to help y'all out in the long run. Of course, I'm using fluorocarbon all the time with this when I'm actually actually fishing this technique. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually tie on the nose hook. This is the rod that I'm going to use with a medium action rod or even a medium light if that's your preference, depending on what rods you have out there. Like that's what I would suggest. So I'm going to go through there. I'm going to tie a Palomar knot. I'm going to go in. Go right there. This is the thing, leader, you want to give yourself plenty of leader line. This is like the line at the end, the tag end needs to be longer. That's what I would recommend. That tag end needs to be a little bit longer. I would say give yourself probably 1.5 foot, right off the gate. So I'm going to tie this real quick here. Boom, done. It's real quick, real easy. Now you're going to use your tag end, and this is the most important part of a drop shot. You're going to use your tag end, and you're going to go ahead and put that tag end through the line, the eye of the hook. Okay, now what that's doing is that's just locking your hook in to where now it's sort of straight up and down. I can sort of see how that is. See how that is? Here, what I'll do is, hold up. So basically, I'll show you like straight up and down. Like it goes. Basically, it's at that point in time you're basically giving your bait the best action you possibly can with a nose hook, and that's why I do that. Okay. Now, take out your drop shot bait that you're going to use. Now I'm going to select the size of the leader that I'm going to use. So this is like about 16 inches. That's probably most days what I would recommend, probably 16 inches. Now, this is one rule of thumb that I will say. If you're casting a drop shot, like say for smallmouth or dragging it, I'm going to get a longer leader. So 16, 18 inches even, maybe even 2 feet. If I'm casting it long ways, like throwing a wacky rig or something like that, like say a 4-inch lunker log, I will actually put a longer leader because that keeps that bait up off of the bottom a little bit more and has a little more natural action like of that bait to sort of, doing its thing. I will tie this guy on here. This is a weight. One thing that I will do is I will actually tie this on. So let me hop back over here, point of view, and they sort of lock in there like that, but I'm going to go overhand, just a little overhand knot. So you guys can get the gist of it. It's sort of having a tougher time with the braid because it's going to be a little bit more supple. There you go. So overhand knot, you're good to go. Popping back into how I'm going to rig this. There's really a couple different ways with a small hook like that. 2 ways to nose hook, okay? You can go from the front and like I'll go up underneath there, go up into him just a little bit like this. That's what I would do. And that way when the fish bites, dunk, you just pull set. Or if you're around a little bit of cover, okay? If you're around a little bit of cover, this is one of my favorite ways to do this. It adds a little bit of action to the bait, but I'll actually go up underneath the chin of that bait. And it's almost like Texas, like basically like weedless with a nose hook. Now that will actually give you a little bit better action for that bait. So that's sort of how I rig him right there. And so if I'm around a little bit of weeds or a little bit of brush and I want to still use that nose hook for whatever reason, I prefer using these bigger hooks if I can get away with it. But if the fish are being super fickle, sometimes I'll use that smaller hook and hook it like that because I can't really tell and see it really well. So that is the nose hook. Let's dive into using this hook, which is the VMC Finesse Nico. And then I'll show you how I Texas rigged that real quick. Same process, same thing. I'll just do it really quick here because I don't want to go through the process 7 different times. Is basically what it is. Okay, so this is the Finesse Nico hook. Actually, I'm going to use the smaller one. Sorry, guys. Same deal with this hook. I'm going to walk you through this. And so if you guys already know this part, you can be completely fine. But I just want to make sure that I can go through this. So a lot of you beginner fishermen out there that are just getting into bass fishing, this is for you. I just want to really go through this where you can ultimately, if there's something you can learn, I want to help teach that. So this is actually fluorocarbon. I swapped to the fluorocarbon polymer knot. I'll have that on the channel as well. So if you guys are looking for that, that'll be up. Same thing on this particular deal. I just Texas rig. I actually just did the polymer knot right there. And then I'm just going to put that line back through the eye of the hook. Same exact deal. Again, that is truly important with the way that hook will actually lay. You can see it's kicked up. It allows for it to lay the right way when you're casting around. So now I'm going to take the same bait that I was throwing right here. Move this guy over a little bit. And then go right ahead. And I'll just go in about a quarter inch or so. Just like right there. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make sure, sort of give that point of view to y'all. And then, okay, so there's a little, that right there. And then I'm going to Texas rig him just like that. And I just want to point it up. You see that, like right there? Like I have it actually sort of like exposed. That's exactly what I want. Perfect. So if I'm fishing around a little bit of brush up, I want that bait to be a little bit more, like where I can ultimately don't have to worry about. The thing is, see how that angle of that hook goes in there? I like that too. So like I can tuck him back into the worm, but I know because of the way that angle of that hook is, that when I set the hook, it's going to pop out. It's going to hook him pretty good. So if you're around like a little bit less cover, then I'll pop him out a little bit and actually expose him. If you're around a lot more cover, then I'll actually put it in there and like sort of like Texas rig him, but not, you can see he's sort of not really popping out that much right there. He's just towards the edge of it, which you ultimately, you can feel that and it's good to go. So that is really the gist of drop shot fishing and some of the, the weights, the line, the rod, how I select all that stuff, the bait. Ultimately, you're going to have the trial and error. The Morning Dawn colors, pink worm, that pink little worms caught a lot of bass. I throw your natural colors, green pumpkins, and everything else. But you just have to just play with it. And we'll have a later on video if you guys are looking for more stuff. I'm sure I'll plan on shooting a lot of content this summer talking about the in-depth stuff. So if you're looking for that, plan on looking for that this summer, because I definitely want to go into like some of the baits that I throw, why I throw them, all of that good stuff. But if you're new to bass fishing or have done this a lot and just never got into drop shot fishing, this video is for you. How to rig it. I've enjoyed this series. It's fun. And hopefully some of you are learning a little bit along the way. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. As always, hit that thumbs up. That just shows us that, hey, you are liking our content, and that lets me know I need to be doing more of that. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see y'all next time.